Om Jnanatimarandasya Gyanandana Salakya Shakchuram Minitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kalamaya Dadati Swaparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaisnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaratam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sivisakam Vitamscha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kancana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwamanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyacha Kripa Sindhubhyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasani Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Krishna, who is a forest dweller, is performing pastimes on the banks of the Yamuna. The Yamuna is sometimes, it is described as making a circle around Vrindavan. It splits off in different branches, and in this way the Yamuna is providing a garland for Vrindavan, because this is the spirit of Yamuna, always engaged in glorifying Krishna and the pastime place of Krishna. Because tadiyanam samarchanam, one should also worship the tadiya. One should also not only worship Krishna, but one should worship everything that is connected with Krishna. Tulsi is tadiya, Ganga is tadiya, Yamuna is tadiya, the garland is tadiya, the devotees themselves are tadiya, the spiritual master is tadiya. All these are worshipable items that are dear to Krishna. And because they are dear to Krishna, therefore tadiyanam samarchanam arananam sarvisam vishnuradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. It is said that worshipping the tadiya, worshipping the paraphernalia that are related to Krishna, or the personalities that are relating to Krishna, that is even more important and more potent than worshipping Krishna directly. And why is it so? Because all these things are dear to Krishna. And therefore that captures Krishna's heart, particularly. Therefore Vaishnavas are very precious. Vaishnavas are never ordinary people. Even if they appear to have many characteristics that ordinary people also have. Even if they lie. Sometimes. Or all the time. Even if they are sometimes getting angry and hit their fist on the table. Even then, Vaishnava is not an ordinary person. Because a Vaishnava has done something to please Krishna. And neha vikramuna sasti pratyavayana vichyate svagvamapyasya dharmasya tayate mahatu vayat. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that there is no loss or diminution in devotional service, but basically what that means, it is we have purchased Krishna. Vaishnavas have purchased Krishna. Therefore, when we are not appreciating a Vaishnava, we should know that behind that Vaishnava is Krishna, smiling upon that Vaishnava, and then we go, oh God, this guy, so that is a fact. Krishna is pleased. In the pastime of Draupadi, we remember how Dusasana, powerful kshatriya, big powerful arms, was trying to disrobe this girl. What could she do? What power did she have for that brute muscle? No chance. At first, she was holding on to her cloth, and then she realized this is pointless. This will not work, this approach. So then she realized that there's nothing I can do now, nothing within my power. At this stage, I can only turn to Krishna. And she threw up her arms in the air, let the sari go, and just called out, Hey Govinda, praying to Krishna for his protection. So later, after that whole, we know Krishna supplied unlimited cloth and the whole room filled up with cloth and all that. And in this way, Dusasana's plan was not successful. Anyway, later, Krishna says, whenever I remember how Draupadi called out, Hey Govinda, at that time, then my appreciation for her increases. So this is very significant because Krishna is remembering the service of his devotee and his appreciation is increasing. So we've heard about the spiritual bank account. That verse is sometimes compared to the spiritual bank account, where it is explained that whatever service you do, that stays in your spiritual bank account. Now one day I was thinking, yeah, so there's a bank account, and what about the interest? There has to be some interest, isn't it, in the bank. So I was thinking, I was looking for what is it, the interest. And so my question to you is, well, when I found this particular story where Krishna said, whenever I remember the way Draupadi surrendered and just called out, Hey Govinda, my appreciation for her increases. So now my question to you, oh business people, not those who have heard me say this before. I want to only hear it from the business people. What is the percentage of interest?
100%.
Someone says 100%.
10% per year is a lot.
What?
10% per year is a good one.
10%.
Per year.
I think endless, because we always speak.
Ah,
Yes.
she lives in Switzerland, see? They know about banking. They know. It's endless, she says, yes, unlimited. Because, see, let's look at the pastime. Krishna says, whenever I remember Draupadi's surrender, then my appreciation is increasing. So, okay, it's increasing. Now, is Krishna remembering Draupadi's pastime only once? Is Krishna known to be forgetful? Now, I know Krishna is the oldest person in the universe. Does Krishna sometimes forget? What was her name again? What service did she do again? What was it again? Something. Come on. What was it? Say the key word. What was it? Sorry. Yes, sorry. Okay. Sorry. Yes, unlimited sorry. Yes. And hey, Govinda. Yes. No, that's not Krishna. Although Krishna is known as the oldest person, Krishna is also Novyovanam, ever fresh. So his memory certainly works, and therefore ultimately we understand Krishna remembers again and again, and each time he remembers, the appreciation increases. Therefore, she is right. The interest percentage is unlimited. So when we think about that, that's something, isn't it? I mean, that's Krishna, who is therefore unlimitedly kind upon his devotee. And these are the things that warm the heart. And it's important that the heart gets involved in devotional service. Otherwise, how can we be nourished? If we nourish ourselves only with knowledge and philosophy, then we fall asleep. If we only nourish ourselves with knowledge, that is dry. The heart has to be involved. So we have to recognize Krishna's heart. We have to see that Krishna has a heart, that Krishna cares. And when Krishna cares, all right, then I can begin to develop some attraction for Krishna. Another favorite pastime of mine is Kaliya. You know, like there's Kaliya, this vicious snake poisoning the waters and so on, and Krishna is jumping in the Yamuna from the Kadamba tree, and immediately the water rises with 30 centimeters. Something powerful has just entered that water, something that is bigger than it looks. Then Krishna begins to play with the water. It says, making musical sounds with the water with his hands, so I'm imitating. And Krishna, of course, does it better than me, because Krishna is indicating what is coming. He's gonna dance, there has to be some music. So he's playing some music and he's getting ready to dance. And sure enough, there's Kaliya, hey, what you're doing in my water? You know, anyway, Krishna is doing a dance on the hoots of Kaliya, and very elegantly, Vrindavana Nattavara, the dancer of Vrindavan, and everyone is just amazed and watching, and so many things are happening. Anyway, at one point, all that kicking on the head gets a bit much for Kaliya, and he gets a multiple headache, you know. I mean, if you have many heads, can you imagine? It's serious, serious condition. So, what to do then? It gets serious, it gets critical. He starts to cough and blood is coming and it looks bad for Kaliya. Then, you know, and Krishna is just about to finish the job. Another demon, you know. I mean, between lunch and between breakfast and lunch, usually, you know, Krishna knocks off a demon. And he was just about to finish off this snake demon. And then the ladies come. And what, you know, they cry. Oh God, the tear weapon. Right? And that's a very tough, powerful weapon, and the tears are streaming. Please don't kill our husband. What will we do? We will be all alone. Who will take care of us? And Krishna is looking at the whole situation. He goes, all right, you know what to do. Okay. So then Krishna had a problem because he had this poisonous snake in the Yamuna, and that was not possible because the cows and the cowherd boys were dying. They had drunk the water, Krishna revived them, and these cowherd boys were standing, seeing Krishna's water, dancing, and they're going like, we were dead, now we're alive. And then Krishna in the coils of that snake, it was too much for one day. So it was a hell of a day for the cowherd boys. So Krishna didn't want that to happen again. Therefore Krishna basically had to tell that snake to move on. Now, if it was up to me, I would say, now listen, you snake, you know, you messed with me, right? And now you know what it means, right? And I'll tell you, snake, this town ain't big enough for the two of us. And I'm telling you, snake, if you ever show your snaky face again in this neck of the woods, you know, I tell you, snake, then you're finished. And then I will pull my 6-shooters, and then I will say, and now you dance, snake. And you dance, bang, 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 and you dance. And that snake would have been dancing out of town. And then, just at the end, that snake, at a distance, a safe distance, that snake would have turned around, shaking his fist and said, I'll get you back, Swami. Now, of course, see how wonderful Krishna is. He didn't do that. He didn't become John Wayne. He didn't become a cowboy. He is a cowherd boy. He has a little more culture. So Krishna said to that snake, he said, my dear king of the snakes. So Kaliya said, oh, he knows I'm the king. My dear king of the snakes, you know, of course I know very well why you came here to the Yamuna. Because I know you had to flee for Garuda, who drove you away from your island. That island, known as Ramanaka, nowadays as Fiji. And we have one devotee from Fiji here today. That island, known as Ramanaka, you had to flee because Garuda drove you away and you had to run for your life, and there was some curse upon Garuda because once he ate a big fish and Sabari Muni cursed him that if he would ever come again to the Yamuna he would die, so you knew you would be safe here. I understand, Krishna said, but now, my dear king, you can return to your kingdom because I have left my footprints on your heads, on your hoods, and therefore Garuda will not touch you. So please return nicely. And this way, Krishna in a very nice way sent Kaliya back. In the Nectar of Devotion, this part is called Krishna as a pleasing talker. So Krishna is the pleasing talker. So unlike Kadamba Kanana Swami who comes in with his guns, you know. No, Krishna. And that is endearing in Krishna. That Krishna is a sensitive personality. That Krishna is understanding. He is understanding Kaliya. He's not just, you know, barking at him, look here, you know, I'm the supreme here, you know, you want to mess with me, you got no chance, I'll knock your teeth out. You know, no. He is somehow or other convincing Kaliya. He didn't need to. He could have grabbed him by the tail and thrown him back to Ramanaka Island if he wanted to. And even given him wings to fly back. But there was no need for all that. because Krishna simply convinced him. And with that was the final thing. That was the final thing that changed the last little bit of resistance in Kaliya. Already being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna, he had become purified. Already by the association of his pious devotee wives, he had been purified. And still, there was some little bit in him, I'm not going to surrender. In spite of everything, in spite of having devotional symbols on his body, just like us, in spite of being in the association of devotees, just like us, he was still saying, I'm not going to surrender, just like us. But then, Krishna conquered him. Krishna actually conquered him. Krishna dealt with him in such a way that Kaliya then and there became a devotee. When Krishna spoke in that way, then Kaliya felt there's a relationship here. He cares about me. He actually cares about me. He's not just the Supreme Lord and I have to worship him. And I'll never surrender. Because why can't I be worshipped? No. He cared for him and captured him. And that is most wonderful. So in this way, we must discover in all the pastimes of Krishna, where Krishna shows his heart. He showed his heart towards Draupadi, towards Kaliya, and he also towards us. And we can rely on that. We can rely on Krishna, that he's kind, that he's benevolent, that he's all good, that he will not let us fall in a black hole. And even when we think we are in a black hole, sometimes life is such a thing. Anyway, I went once to a Qigong program with Krishna Maharaj and Satyananda Swami in Berlin, and we were there, and there was a lady who was a Qigong master from China, and she was going, we all had to close our eyes. I hate these sessions where you sit and you all have to close your eyes, and I'm one of those people who would close their eyes. So anyway, neither did she, I saw. And I suspected that much. And then she goes, now close your eyes and meditate on all your problems, everything. And everyone's sitting there and lots of problems in the ether. And then she says, now we put all these problems on a big pile in the middle of the room. And then, when all these problems were there, then she took them and she threw them, and she said, and now I take all these problems and throw them in a black hole in the universe. Says, wow, that's what they're for. I never knew, you know. But sometimes, as we throw the problems, we find ourselves in the black hole as well. It didn't work. We tried to throw the problems in the black hole, but we went with the problems and we find ourselves in a black hole. And what are we doing now? How do I get out of this? But the more we are hearing how Krishna is kind, how he is a heart, how Krishna is Name Bhakta Pranasyati, I will never abandon my devotee. The more we know that, then even in the black hole, we will remember that black personality, who is blackish like a rain cloud, and who plays his flute. And then even the black hole is not so bad anymore. And then say, well, it wasn't so bad. Once upon a time, I was in the Himalayas, and I was climbing and climbing and climbing high up in the Himalayas, and I was finding, it was quite steep, and then there was a little point of rock with some grass on it sticking out of the steep mountain wall. It was a perfect seat. So I sat down on my mountain Vyasa-san and began to meditate. And it was all going well. I was getting very high and transcendental. And then suddenly I saw clouds rolling from below. Not from up, they came from below. And they rolled up the mountain, and next moment I was in the clouds, and it was raining and storming, and it was just too much. And my nice grass turned into slippery mud, and it was not so good, and the whole mountain became very slippery, and I didn't have enough clothes, and I was thinking I gotta stay here the whole night, I'm gonna freeze to death, and if I try to climb down, I'll probably slip and fall down. And I was already seeing the newspaper article, young Dutch tourist found dead in Himalayan foothills. It's like, oh God, and my mother's gonna read this and everything. So I was like convinced this was the end. I was in the black hole, right? And I really was about to give up, and then suddenly some wind came, the clouds moved away, the sun returned, and I was still alive. And although I thought I couldn't go down, it was too slippery, in about half an hour it looked a lot drier, and I thought, well, I guess I can make it, And sure enough, I did. So when we are in the black hole, and simply remember Krishna, Krishna Surya Sam, Krishna is light, the sun, Maya Andhakar, Maya is darkness. So just by remembering Krishna and his wonderful loving nature, then all darkness of Maya will disappear. So that's what I wanted to share with you for the sake of nourishment. We need to find some nourishment in meditating on Krishna and his pastimes, because it is that nourishment that keeps us alive. Every day I have to choose between kirtan and question and answers, and then I choose for kirtan what to do. But there is no Swami yet. So any quick question? Yes. Quick microphone, quick question.
Can you please tell us how to avoid familiarity with Vaishnavas?
I personally think we should be very familiar with the Vaishnavas, but respectful.
Yeah, I mean that.
They say familiarity breeds contempt. So respectful we should be, but respect doesn't necessarily mean to get some super glue and put the hands together. No, respect actually means appreciation. We have to appreciate every Vaishnava. That's respect. If respect is only external Vaishnava etiquette, Hare Krishna Prabhu Ji, yes, that is not enough, because inside I might be thinking something else. So, but if we actually find something in that devotee to appreciate, then respect follows the appreciation. Then the respect is strong, and then we can be very close and familiar and friendly. Then we can become friends, and we can become brothers and sisters and be very close, shoulder to shoulder. We stand, and together, united we stand, right? In strength. And Maya, what can Maya do when I'm protected by the devotees? By the loving relationships of the devotees. If we don't become friends in this movement, God, then we make it hard they say Vaishnava association, so important. And then if you don't become friends, well, gosh, do I really have to associate with these people? So let us be friends. That will help. And that is appreciate. Let's find something to appreciate in someone. That is what creates friendship. Mutual. Therefore, my spiritual master told me, we are the mutual appreciation society. Yes?
In continuation, is it appropriate to look for Krishna's qualities in others?
Yes, it is very so. Sarva Maha Gunagan Vaishnava Sarira Krishna Gun Krishna Bhakti Sakila Sanchari. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says that all the great qualities of Krishna are gradually becoming manifest in the body of the Vaishnava. So it's right there. I don't know the verse number, sorry about that. I mean, it's a little rusty. Madhya Lila somewhere. Close to chapter 20 or so. Sarva Maha Gunagan.
Maharaj, now when you're mentioning stories from Nectar of Devotion, I remember this Brahmana who was offering sweet rice in his mind. Yes. So my question is, how important it is to gather all the ingredients in the mind? Like if we want to offer something to Krishna in our mind, how important is that we know how we gather those things and like prepare it, or can we just like, oh, I really want to offer nice sweet rice.
Offer some sweet rice. Bloop. Here it is, Krishna. Here's the sweet rice. You can do that. You can just say, okay, I manifest this sweet rice now, here it is. And Krishna says, thanks. But if you actually go and you just, in your mind, you go get the best rice, clean it really nice in your mind. Then, you know, milk from, like Mother Yasoda, one of those cows that gets special green grass and like special cow and then special milk, and then you just, out for hours you stand there stirring. It's the stirring. The thing about the sweet rice is the stirring, right? It's not how sweet it is, it's about how much you stir the sweet rice. So in your mind you're just stirring and stirring. Your hand might even start moving along. And then, you know, good sweet rice has to be cool. It has to be cool. It has to cool down. Only in Sweden, where it's freezing cold, hot sweet rice is nice. But anywhere else, it's cold sweet rice, you know. So when you have to cool down the sweet rice, then when it's on the perfect temperature, then you offer it in your mind. By then Krishna is sort of like, you know, eager. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? You've been waiting for this. So like this. The more effort you put in, the more return. Yeyatanam prabhadete tam stataiva bhajamyam. Bhakti Vaibhav Maharaj has come, and that is very nice. So I'll end here. Thank you very much. Rama Kanana Swami.